there, welcome to Ruck N Roll, where last weekend's deplorable performances have left many doing some soul searching. Robert Madoi here with David Mutaka and Philip Kivoijana. And David, I should say, while Ugandan franchise sides were chasing shadows last weekend, the wedding of Mark Olwenyi was preoccupying you, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yes. It was good to see the man make, or a woman make, an honest man out of him. Yeah, it went well. Okay.
Olwenyi there found his soul. And Philip, he did condemn you to the sin bin. Because I did see you at Chadondo. You didn't, you weren't amongst the guests, were you?
He made his choices.
Unfortunately, in Fan Zone, David and I can't live at the same time. I don't know who made the rule, but we live with it.
Okay, interesting. Well, Ren's wedding aside, this is what we have coming up for you.
It's not quite a mutiny, but Victoria players are up in arms against their coach. We find out from Michael Tamale if there is indeed any call to arms. After leaving Uganda in its wake, Kenya is pulling the plug on this year's Elgon Cup. We can't help but wonder, where is the love? And Rugby Crane's legend and coach, Herbert Wafula, fills us in on what Ugandan rugby needs to do to get past the crossroads.
Herbert Wafula to come later on the show. First though, to the considerable friction between Robert Seguya and his Victoria players. Now, sparks flew last weekend when Victoria were beaten 10-3 by Chui at Chadondo. While Seguya has been accused of being a micromanager, Victoria captain Michael Tamale was labeled a puppet. We've been speaking to Tamale about the growing tide of hostility.
Performance was not that bad because it was a new experience for most of the boys. We had a bit of discipline issues here and there because calls were being made for us to get vital points. But as you know, head rush in games, boys want to take on the big points. So there was a bit of mix-up in communication.
Have you guys harmonized? Are you all on the same page again? Because talking to some of the players immediately on that Saturday night, it looked like most of them were agreed and you weren't on the same page. Have you talked it out?
Yeah, obviously we weren't on the same page, but after that tempers came down and we harmonized. We talked about it. We planned to take the game to them fast from the whistle and bog them down, run them ragged, and we hope they can tire because I believe we're a much fitter team than they are. Obviously there are lessons that we ought to learn, and obviously we'll go out maybe to the union and set in place better strength and conditioning programs for the teams, because I believe and I've been told it happens back in Kenya. So if they can do this here, it will up Ugandan rugby very much more.
And the supplementation?
Obviously that is well needed for every team. Supplementation for the players. Obviously accompanied with gym work and everything. And I think we'll have to get more lobbying for more corporate companies to come out and take this initiative so that we elevate Uganda's rugby status more. So these teams have co-sponsors. So if one sponsor is doing this, the other takes up on another. And say now, like at least if I may talk about it, the initiative coming with Ethans, and I've also heard with Cobbs, you have funds helping out in buying players some of these supplements. So which at least if the union can also take this up and encourage them more or fund them more, it will help a lot.
Any
final remarks? Yeah, if you could come watch us play in Kakamega, that would be good. We need all the support we can get.
Michael Tamale there, he does try, to paint what you can call a rosy picture of the state of affairs at Chadondo. But it does appear, it's apparent that Seguya is losing the dressing room, isn't he? He's losing control of his players.
I don't know. I can't say for sure. I think yesterday I saw all the players at the training ground.
Yeah.
So that's always a good sign because when I left, as I said, I missed the games.
Yeah.
On Sunday or Monday, one was saying, the players who are not going to play anymore, they have said, unless Sogi goes. But yesterday they turned up. And for me, this is, it's 4 games, actually 3 games that they've played. Let's say 4 games they've played as a team. Yeah. And that friction will happen. Yeah. So there are players who, as recent as last year, were playing with Robert Seguia or against Robert Seguia. He was in Buffaloes, there in the Heathens. So there'll be that friction. And the second one for me is that it's a learning curve for Uganda rugby as a whole, not just the players. For the coaches, the players, the administration, even us, the organizers, in terms of playing at the next level of rugby. And that does show through the team dynamics. So whereas they'll be conflicting, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Yeah.
And Philip, the micromanagement, what's your take on it? Because players, at least the ones I talked to after that game, they seem to be up in arms because they perceive Seguia as being a man who wears one too many hats. He wants to be a coach, he wants to be a captain, he wants to be a ball boy, he wants to be I don't know if he also wants to be a physio or something of that kind, but he has his fingers in many pies, doesn't he?
Yeah, and David, I think, is still in a wedding mood. He put it very politely there. I think he didn't want to make any more enemies. But going by the game on Saturday, is the exact reasons they lost that final in Protector Rugby Super Series. Yeah. Is the same exact reason they lost that game. Why on earth wouldn't you take 6 penalties in the 22 of your opponent? Yeah. Those are 18 points. Yeah. At one point, even with a 17-point lead, the Kenyans were taking penalties from as far as the halfway line. Yeah. Yeah. And the funny thing... That was
Papa against Renzori.
Yes. Yeah. And you see, when you look at it goes back to leadership, as you said earlier. Yeah. I looked at all those incidents. At one point, Tamale didn't even move from where he was when they gave a penalty. He's the captain. You'd expect him to run or pass on a message. Yeah. You look at the vice, Dennis Mugambi Tialata, he's quiet. Then you have Kasoto, what's his name again?
Gerald
Sewankambo. Yeah. Picking the ball, no support, players are looking at each other, running and losing it immediately. It clearly showed a sign of disorganization. Of course, at the end of the day, they were saying Sogi was throwing many orders from the bench. And yes, Sogi is a good coach, but to quote one of the players, they said he's good if he's seated at Legends and you're playing in Chadondo. That is how far they might want him.
On the other hand, if they had won, you'd be saying different things. Okay. And I think it's a bit premature to criticize him because something has gone wrong. Otherwise, all coaches would coach according to what our fans, as fans we say, or what the players say. And for him, the learning for him is that he needs to make compromises. He needs to be a bit flexible on some of the things that he does. He can be really, really single-minded, but his heart is always in the right place.
Okay. Well, just in case you had forgotten, the past few days have been quite tormenting for Ugandan rugby fans. A listless opening round in the Bamburi Rugby Super Series was followed by news that there will be no Elgon Cup to fight for this year. Needless to say, it's been a forgettable week for Ugandan rugby.
Turn over there. Alan Kangeri, the captain, leading by example there. We also recognize presence, Patrons Club, Andrew Willie, also going to thank you for coming. Victoria on the attack there. Captain. Steve Ruck N Roll, the Pingo. The 6 on Jacob. It will be the Elgon Cup. Yeah. Uganda will be taking on Kenya. And the 9 points. By Papa. Uganda taking on Kenya. Superb running. High drive.
Guys, what that piece doesn't show is that Chester Williams did issue a come and get me plea to the union on social media.
Yes.
Considering the fact that Kenya has made lots of inroads because of foreign coaches, do you think we should go down that route again of having a foreign coach?
I think there's a time for a foreign coach. Whether that time is now, in my mind, is up to debate. Again, we've pushed the panic button too early.
Yeah.
In my mind, I think we've made many steps, considering where we were last year, which was Madagascar, that disaster, and just that rebuilding journey.
Yeah.
To come to now, where we have two sort of sets of players that we are building on. Now, you want to bring Chester Williams when you've done the groundwork, and the player base has improved, the national team is gelling, the league is working, then the coach works.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if you bring him now, you spend a lot of money, you still don't build your structures, and it's a quick fix. And we're not in a rush. Rugby, I think for me, the target should be Rugby World Cup 2019.
Yeah.
And if we have a plan like that, then Chester comes 2016 as we get ready in terms of our structures. What are our clubs producing? Where are our school players coming from? What is the junior rugby playing? So much, whether we play the Elgon Cup or not, the Kenyans lose as well. Because the Uganda brings value to that proposition.
Okay. Well, time to take a break now. When we return, we'll have plenty to go through.